This speech will change how you see yourself forever. There comes a moment in every human life when the greatest battle is no longer against poverty, failure, rejection, criticism, competition, or circumstance. It becomes a battle against the image staring back from the mirror. Not the face, not the body, the identity, the story, the silent definition you have accepted about who you are. Because the truth is, most people never live according to their potential. They live according to their self-image. A man can possess intelligence and still think he is inadequate. A woman can possess extraordinary gifts and still believe she is ordinary. A dreamer can hold a vision powerful enough to change generations and still spend years convincing himself that he is not ready. The prison is rarely physical. The prison is psychological, and the bars are made of beliefs. For years, perhaps without realizing it, you have been carrying an invisible portrait of yourself. Every decision you make, every opportunity you pursue, every risk you avoid, every relationship you accept, every goal you chase, every dream you abandon, all of it flows from that portrait. The world responds not to who you wish you were. The world responds to who you believe you are. That is why two people can stand before the same opportunity and experience completely different futures. One sees possibility. The other sees danger. One sees growth. The other sees failure. One sees a challenge. The other sees proof that they are not enough. The opportunity is identical. The difference is identity. Napoleon Hill understood this principle long before the modern world discovered the language of psychology. He spent decades studying men and women who transformed industries, built fortunes, inspired nations, and changed history. Again and again, he found the same invisible force. Before they changed their circumstances, they changed themselves. Before they accumulated wealth, they developed conviction. Before they achieved success, they became the kind of person capable of producing success. The transformation always happened within first. And yet most people spend their entire lives trying to rearrange the outside world while neglecting the kingdom within. They chase approval. They chase validation. They chase recognition. They chase evidence. Waiting for the world to tell them they are valuable. Waiting for success to tell them they are capable. Waiting for results to tell them they are worthy. But greatness has never worked that way. You do not become confident because you succeed. You succeed because you become confident. You do not develop belief after the evidence appears. The evidence appears because belief was present first. Every remarkable achievement in history began as an invisible thought. The airplane existed in the imagination of the Wright brothers before it existed in the sky. The electric light existed in the mind of Edison before it illuminated the world. The automobile existed in Henry Ford's vision before it rolled across roads. The kingdom always appears in the mind before it appears in reality. This is why your self-image matters more than your current circumstances. Because circumstances are temporary. Identity is creative. Identity produces reality. If you see yourself as weak, your actions will unconsciously support weakness. If you see yourself as unlucky, your choices will reinforce limitation. If you see yourself as average, you will build an average life no matter how much talent you possess. But the moment your identity changes, everything begins to shift. The same opportunities suddenly look different. The same obstacles suddenly feel smaller. The same fears suddenly lose their power. Because the person facing them is no longer the same. Think about Abraham Lincoln. Before he became one of history's most respected leaders, he experienced repeated failures. Business failure, political defeat, personal hardship, loss, disappointment. By the standards of ordinary thinking, those experiences should have convinced him to quit. Yet they did not. Why? Because Lincoln refused to allow temporary outcomes to become permanent definitions. He did not see failure as identity. He saw failure as information. And there is a profound difference. Most people allow events to tell them who they are. The extraordinary decide who they are regardless of events. That decision changes everything. Imagine carrying yourself through life with absolute certainty that your future is greater than your past. Imagine waking every morning knowing that your mistakes do not define you. Imagine moving through challenges with the confidence that every obstacle contains a lesson, every setback contains strength, and every delay contains preparation. That is not fantasy. That is the mindset shared by history's greatest achievers. Because they understood something most people never discover. You are not your worst mistake. You are not your current circumstances. You are not the opinions of other people. You are not the labels placed upon you by teachers, critics, relatives, employers, strangers, or society. You are not the limitations you inherited. You are not the fears you learned. You are not the doubts that whisper in dark moments. You are something far greater. You are potential in motion. You are possibility seeking expression. You are a force waiting for direction. And that direction begins with vision. Every great transformation begins when a person sees something invisible. A future no one else can see. A possibility no one else believes. A version of themselves that exists beyond present reality. Walt Disney was told his ideas lacked imagination. Imagine that. The man who would eventually create worlds of wonder was once informed that he had no imagination. Had he accepted that judgment, history would have lost one of its greatest creators. But he understood a truth that every dreamer must eventually learn. Other people's opinions are not mirrors. They are merely reflections of their own limitations. Never allow someone else's blindness to become your reality. Never surrender your vision to those who cannot see it. The world has always doubted what it cannot yet understand. The world doubted explorers before new continents were discovered. The world doubted inventors before inventions changed civilization. The world doubted visionaries before visions became reality. And if your dream is large enough, the world may doubt you too. Let them. Because history does not belong to the doubters. History belongs to the believers. The men and women who dared to hold a vision longer than others held their criticism. The individuals who remained faithful to possibility when evidence was absent. The people who refused to negotiate with fear. Fear is one of humanity's oldest companions. It arrives whenever growth begins. It appears whenever transformation is near. Fear is not proof that you are incapable. Fear is proof that you are approaching territory you have never entered before. Every new level demands a new version of you. Every breakthrough requires expansion. Every dream requires courage. And courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is action despite fear. The warrior feels fear. The entrepreneur feels fear. The leader feels fear. The creator feels fear. The difference is that they move anyway. They understand that action dissolves uncertainty. Movement creates momentum. Progress creates confidence. And confidence creates results. Most people wait until they feel ready. But readiness is often an illusion. You become ready through action. You become strong through resistance. You become confident through experience. You become extraordinary through repeated acts of courage. No one begins as a master. No one begins as a legend. Every giant once stood where you stand. Every champion once doubted. Every visionary once questioned. Every leader once struggled. The difference is that they refused to remain where they started. And neither should you. Because there is a version of you waiting on the other side of discipline. A version of you stronger than your excuses. A version of you wiser than your fears. A version of you greater than your current limitations. That person is not created overnight. That person is built choice by choice. Day by day. Thought by thought. Action by action. Moment by moment. The sculptor creates a masterpiece by removing what does not belong. Likewise, you must remove the beliefs that no longer serve your future. The doubt. The hesitation. The victim mentality. The dependence on approval. The addiction to comfort. The fear of judgment. Remove them. Not because it is easy. But because greatness requires space. And the future you seek cannot fully emerge while the old version of yourself remains in control. The old version of yourself will fight for survival. Do not underestimate that reality. The mind is a creature of habit. It clings to what is familiar, even when what is familiar is painful. It will attempt to convince you that remaining the same is safer than becoming more. It will whisper stories of caution. It will remind you of previous disappointments. It will replay memories of embarrassment, rejection, and failure as though they are prophecies of the future. But memories are not prophecies. The past is a teacher, not a prison. Too many people build monuments to their former defeats. They revisit old wounds until those wounds become identities. They rehearse failures so often that they become experts in limitation. Yet life has never asked you to worship your past. Life asks you to learn from it. A ship does not move forward by staring at the wake behind it. A tree does not grow by clinging to last year's leaves. A sunrise does not apologize for the darkness it replaces. Everything in nature understands the necessity of growth. Everything except the human being who sometimes becomes emotionally attached to old versions of himself. There are dreams inside people that have been waiting years for permission to live. Dreams buried beneath self-doubt. Dreams buried beneath fear. Dreams buried beneath endless preparation. Dreams buried beneath the belief that someday will arrive on its own. But someday is not a day on the calendar. Someday is a decision. And the moment you decide, the entire direction of your life can begin to change. Not because the world changes overnight. Not because circumstances suddenly become perfect. But because you stop waiting. The moment you stop waiting, power returns. The moment you stop blaming, power returns. The moment you stop making excuses, power returns. The moment you stop seeking permission, power returns. And power is not found in controlling the world. Power is found in controlling yourself. This is where self-mastery begins. Not in public. Not in front of applause. Not in moments of recognition. Self-mastery begins in private. It begins when nobody is watching. It begins with the promises you keep to yourself. Because every promise broken weakens trust. Every promise kept strengthens identity. When you tell yourself you will wake early and you do, you reinforce confidence. When you tell yourself you will finish the work and you do, you reinforce confidence. When you tell yourself you will continue despite discomfort and you do, you reinforce confidence. Confidence is not built through positive thinking alone. Confidence is built through evidence. Evidence created by disciplined action. That is why discipline is one of the highest forms of self-respect. Discipline says, my future matters more than my mood. Discipline says, my purpose matters more than my comfort. Discipline says, my vision matters more than my excuses. The average person follows feelings. The extraordinary person leads feelings. There will be mornings when motivation disappears. There will be days when enthusiasm fades. There will be moments when progress seems invisible. And yet the disciplined individual continues. Because discipline understands something motivation never learns. Results belong to consistency. The river does not carve through stone because of power alone. It succeeds because of persistence. Drop after drop. Day after day. Year after year. Eventually the impossible becomes inevitable. The same principle governs your life. Small actions repeated consistently possess enormous power. A single workout may seem insignificant. A single page read may seem insignificant. A single disciplined choice may seem insignificant. But repeated thousands of times, those choices become destiny. Destiny is not an accident. Destiny is accumulated decisions. And every decision either strengthens your future or weakens it. This is why clarity is essential. Without clarity, effort becomes scattered. Without clarity, energy becomes wasted. Without clarity, potential remains dormant. Imagine a magnifying glass under sunlight. When the light is dispersed, nothing happens. When the light becomes focused, it can ignite fire. Human potential works the same way. Focus creates power. Focus creates momentum. Focus creates transformation. Most people know what they want to avoid. Very few know what they truly want to create. They want less stress, less debt, less disappointment, less frustration. But greatness does not emerge from avoidance. Greatness emerges from creation. What do you want to build? What do you want to become? What legacy do you want to leave behind? These questions matter because direction determines destination. You cannot accidentally arrive at a meaningful life. You must choose it. You must define it. You must pursue it. Purpose gives strength to suffering. Purpose gives meaning to sacrifice. Purpose gives endurance to difficult seasons. When purpose is absent, obstacles appear overwhelming. When purpose is present, obstacles become stepping stones. Think of Thomas Edison working through thousands of unsuccessful attempts before creating a practical electric light. Most people see the result. Few appreciate the persistence. Imagine facing repeated disappointment while maintaining unwavering faith. Imagine continuing when others laughed. Imagine believing when evidence was scarce. That level of conviction changes history. And it can change your life. Because success has always been an inside job before it becomes an outside achievement. The external world merely reflects internal conditions. Your thoughts become beliefs. Your beliefs become actions. Your actions become habits. Your habits become character. Your character becomes destiny. The chain is invisible, yet it governs everything. Guard your thoughts carefully. Not because every thought becomes reality, but because repeated thoughts become identity. And identity influences action. The thoughts you rehearse daily are constructing your future. If you constantly repeat stories of weakness, weakness grows. If you constantly repeat stories of limitation, limitation grows. If you constantly repeat stories of possibility, possibility grows. The mind is fertile soil. Whatever you plant consistently eventually produces fruit. Some people plant fear and wonder why anxiety grows. Some people plant doubt and wonder why confidence fades. Some people plant excuses and wonder why dreams remain distant. Plant better seeds. Feed your mind with vision. Feed your mind with purpose. Feed your mind with courage. Feed your mind with possibility. Because your environment shapes your thinking more than you realize. The people around you matter. The voices you listen to matter. The books you read matter. The conversations you entertain matter. Everything entering your mind contributes to the person you are becoming. A weak environment creates weak expectations. A powerful environment creates powerful expectations. This is why successful individuals are intentional about influence. They protect their minds. They guard their focus. They choose growth. Not because they are better than others. Because they understand the value of mental nutrition. A person who consumes negativity daily should not be surprised when negativity dominates their outlook. A person who surrounds himself with ambition should not be surprised when ambition expands. You rise toward the standards you repeatedly encounter. Raise your standards. Raise them for your health. Raise them for your work. Raise them for your relationships. Raise them for your future. Because standards become boundaries. And boundaries protect greatness. Never forget that your life is moving in the direction of your strongest habits. Not your strongest intentions. Not your strongest wishes. Your strongest habits. The future version of you is being built right now. In this moment. Through choices that seem small. Through decisions that appear ordinary. Through actions that nobody notices. Greatness often grows in silence long before it appears in public. The bamboo tree spends years developing roots before visible growth explodes upward. Many people would mistake those years for failure. Yet underground preparation was occurring the entire time. Your life may be experiencing a similar season. You may feel unseen. You may feel overlooked. You may feel as though your efforts are producing little reward. Do not confuse preparation with stagnation. Do not confuse invisibility with irrelevance. Roots matter. Foundations matter. Character matters. Because when opportunity finally arrives, it exposes preparation. Success does not create character. Success reveals character. And the individual who has prepared in silence is ready when the moment appears. That moment can arrive unexpectedly. One opportunity. One conversation. One decision. One breakthrough. One courageous act. Entire futures have changed because someone refused to quit one day too soon. So continue. Continue learning. Continue growing. Continue believing. Continue building. Continue becoming. Because the story is not finished. The chapter you are living now is not the conclusion. It is preparation for something greater. And every challenge you face today may be developing a strength you will desperately need tomorrow. Trust the process. Trust the growth. Trust the person you are becoming. Not blindly. Not passively. But through daily action that aligns with your highest vision. Because the greatest transformation is not becoming someone else. The greatest transformation is becoming who you were always capable of being.